In California, suspected cinema shooter James Holmes could not have legally owned the military assault-styled rifle he used in the Colorado movie shootings. But the 12-gauge shotgun and both Glock pistols he had are legal in both states. Here to talk about gun regulation is Lori Saldana, former California State Assembly member and legislative author of the open carry law. Also, Alex Kreit, a professor at Thomas Jefferson School of Law. Thank you both for being here. Lori, tell us why you devoted so much time in the legislative office of trying to handle guns.
Well, it was one of a dozen bills that I carried in my final year in 2010. We had some very active advocates for open carry in San Diego. Law enforcement had some very, I thought, justified public safety concerns. So I worked, it became law enforcement's priority bill for 2010. And it really was a matter of public safety and making sure that people who were openly carrying unloaded handguns in California were not creating an unsafe situation for people around them.
Okay, and Alex, gun control advocates maintain that ownership is okay because the Second Amendment right allows us to our individual right to own this. But a Supreme Court decision in 2010 came down that really affects us. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the U.S. Supreme Court in a pair of cases, 2008 and 2010, said that the Second Amendment does provide for an individual right with regard to guns, but those cases are pretty limited. They talked about an individual right to have guns that are in common use by law-abiding citizens for personal protection in the home. So they didn't talk about, the right to carry guns out in the open, in public, in schools, in, government facilities, or the right to have unusual types of weapons, automatic weapons, that kind of thing.
What kind of impact do you think that could have on state law?
Well, remember, the Second Amendment says a well-regulated militia. So regulations are appropriate. The Supreme Court hasn't overturned that. We have 50 to 60 gun deaths every day in the United States.
And 50 to 60?
Yes. And so I think when we have these extreme situations as we had in Aurora, people start paying attention. But the fact is, nearly 3 times that number of people die every day in the United States from gun violence. So it is something that's going on every day, but we pay attention to it when these extreme examples occur.
And it was extreme. Now, gun regulation is such a political football. I have heard actually at least 2 commentators say that if the victims in the movie theaters had their guns, if everybody was armed, this would have never happened because they would have fought back. Let's start with you. What do you think about that statement?
I mean, I think, there's just no empirical evidence to say when you're in that kind of a chaotic situation that more guns is going to somehow lead to less violence. If you have somebody that's well-trained, maybe it's a different situation.
Mm-hmm. What do you think?
An off-duty law enforcement officer who went through tactical training on how to disarm a shooter in a dark, smoky room maybe would have had a chance. But I think the average gun owner doesn't have that type of training, and more guns create a more unsafe situation, not a safer one.
And I was scouring for evidence to see if, and the only evidence I found, even on police records, were basically that typically an untrained person with a gun is the victim of their own gun.
Often that's the case, especially if the assailant is larger and stronger and can disarm a person. And some of the open carry people were actually having people know that the gun was not loaded and taking the gun away from them with an armed gun or with a loaded gun. So you're right. They're more likely to become victims of crime at the hands of their own weapon.
That's what I found. The NRA is notorious for aggressive lobbying against gun controls. Can both of you address maybe what is their top arguments for less regulation?
Where do you want to begin?
I'm just thinking, you have the right to carry a weapon, okay. Now,
yes.
But they don't want it regulated, okay.
They were soft opposed to my bill because they recognized open carry was something that was not regulated, and people were often carrying them without having training. So I think they're getting now into some campaign finance laws. They made the Disclose Act in the Senate a priority bill of theirs last week. So I'm not sure what their priorities would be, but they have the aura of safe gun ownership as their baseline.
And what do you think?
And I think that is true. It's one of those things where I think sometimes they message and focus their message on safe gun ownership and things that I think a lot of people agree with, when in reality some of the positions they're taking are a little bit more extreme than that. And so I think it's one of those things where the message might be a little bit different than what they're actually doing in terms of their legislative efforts.
Or maybe the individual members. Now, the accused shooter, I had heard at one point 6,000 rounds of ammunition, but a lot of ammunition. How have laws around buying ammunition, how have they changed since Columbine, since some of these other ones? Let's start with you.
Kmart discontinued sales of ammunition after the Columbine shooting. It took some prodding, but they discontinued selling any ammunition in their stores. Other stores have different policies. We now have microstamping of ammunition in California that help law enforcement and forensic investigations of shootings. So, but the ammunition is something that is not covered under the Second Amendment. So more states are going in that direction to limit access to large quantities of ammunition.
All right. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. So thank you both very much for joining us.
Thank you.